Good morning, my friends. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite porcelain collections, which is Meissen China, or Meissen hard paste porcelain. They are one of the oldest companies in the entire world. And let me tell you a little bit about them. They began experimenting in 1708, and the experimentation was to find out how to get the porcelain to stay pure white and to not crack in the kiln, which was a secret the Europeans really wanted to covet since the discovery of the beautiful porcelain ware in China. It was financed by King Augustus the Strong. He was the king of Poland and Saxony. Production began at the Royal Factory at Meissen near Dresden, starting in 1710. And this attracted artists and artisans to arguably the most famous porcelain manufacturer in the world. The cross swords is one of the oldest trademarks, started in 1720 to protect its production. Dresden porcelain was made in Dresden and separated themselves through a court settlement so that only they could use the word Dresden. The French ware in Sèvres started in 1760, and they make fabulous things as well. I wouldn't say they're anything to sneeze at. They're pretty fabulous too. Meissen introduced figurines and European decorative styles to replace the imitation of Asian decorations. But I want you to look at the fabulous painting on this this is a coffee pot. This is a later pot. Turn it around. Decorated on both sides. Look at those tulips. Absolutely stunning, incredible work. And then they were also famous for these beautiful flower vases. This is called the pink rose pattern. And there is the cross swords. Now that's a symbol that if you really want to start collecting Meissen, you have to know that many manufacturers copied the Meissen cross swords. So you have to know the different marks. I would suggest there is a very large book on Meissen and tells you about the different marks. Look at this fabulous piece. There is a way to date them, and I would suggest you buy that book. Now notice the decoration on this coffee pot, the gold, the dragon head. And let's move this over and show you a later porcelain piece called the pink rose pattern. And notice it doesn't have as much decoration, but it is stunning. I would say probably this one, 1950s. I did mention in one of my videos that I found a set of 12, a tea set, a coffee set in the pink rose pattern that was completely damaged by tobacco stain, and everyone passed it by, and that was in Phoenix, and I bought the entire set for $125, which was later valued at $28,000. These are no joke. These Meissen pieces are very expensive, sold separately. A cup could be $75 to $100, and a pot as large as this could go for several hundred to $1,000. Here is a little sugar bowl in the same style. The set that I found, sadly, when we moved from Phoenix to Fresno, California, our entire shipment of our entire house. Everything was stolen by the moving company. All our furnishings, all our wedding gifts, our TVs, everything. The entire house was stolen. So we had to do a separate appraisal of our antiques and many things which I brought into the marriage before I met my husband, as well as all of the household goods, TVs, beds, everything had to be appraised separately. Anyway, after a year of a lot of tears and suffering, they finally paid out their insurance, and we were able to buy some of these smaller pieces, but we never found a full set of the pink rose. We were still looking, but we couldn't find it. But we did attend an auction in Pacific Grove, California, and found this magnificent later set. This is just a gravy dish, and it is marked 99999. It has the cross swords. This is a more modern set, but look at the skill. It has both matte gold and brilliant gold. The skill it takes to do that is just amazing. Meissen is used in most of the White House and in a lot of the presidential, almost all of the presidents have used Meissen china. And this piece is probably from the 90s, I'd say. But we were able to get the 12-piece set, coffee, sugar, cream, tea, and 12 cups and saucers for a very, very low price. Nobody seemed to notice that they were Meissen. And now I'm going to explain something that's a very common mistake found. The Meissen were the very first people to do what's called the blue onion, which is sort of an imitation of Chinese ware. Now, a lot of people made this pattern, and they very mistakenly think they have Meissen. So I will tell you the trick to know that you do have Meissen. It's not just the cross swords, which are right there. Beware, there are lots of phonies using similar cross swords. They are not. Look at the base of this plant where my thumb is. Notice there's the cross swords. Meissen factory got sick and tired of the Dresden companies imitating their work. So they began to hide their signature inside their pieces. And there you see it right at the base of that piece. There are a lot of lovely reproductions, but they are not Meissen, so they shouldn't be priced as Meissen. The Dresden pieces are very nice, but a cup and saucer set is, maybe $25 for the cup and the saucer. Here you have the cross swords. And they are at the base of that. See that? Right at the base of that flower is the cross swords, right inside the design. That's the inside of the cup. Here's the dish. There again, see the cross swords? Now this blue onion set is very special because they gilded it. They gild all the edges, which they normally didn't do. This was made for Gilman and Collymore, which was a fancy store like Tiffany that was in New York City at 5th Avenue and 30th Street. So this must have been a custom order, because to gild every single piece like this was much more costly. You see there's an overlay of gold on everything. The normal blue onion does not have the gold. Doesn't mean it's not valuable, as long as you make sure you see that hidden cross swords. Otherwise, what you have is just regular Dresden china. And I'm not saying that's bad stuff. It's just not Meissen and should not command the price that Meissen commands. And this, let's say, I think this is a little consomme bowl or like a soup bowl. But anyway, this, like a teacup like that, Could be up to $175 because of the gilding, the cup and saucer set. But believe it or not, I was in a junk shop, thrift shop, and I found an entire set of these, like 8 cups, 8 saucers, 8 dishes, some salad plates, all Meissen, and they were all priced together for like $50. The guy who ran the place obviously didn't know anything about it, and I wasn't about to inform him. But anyway, I just wanted to show you some of my beautiful Meissen pieces. I'm sad about what happened to us, and that the pieces that were pink rose were of the much later period than this piece. They were probably from the late 1800s to the 1920s, and unfortunately that was all stolen. But can't cry over spilled milk, so you just keep on going. I still search for pieces that I could add to our collection. I found that magnificent older coffee pot on eBay, believe it or not. Excuse me, but I still think Meissen is one of the most fabulous pieces of porcelain I'll ever see in my life. And hope you learned something. Hope you enjoy, like, and subscribe to my videos. I will be showing more of my doll collection later, but I thought I'd show you and share a little story about the wonderful, famous Meissen porcelain, which is still made today. But many of these patterns have been retired. Hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful day, and God bless. Take care.